Hey YouTube family, this is Mika Coleman with Tax Deed and Overage Education, and today I want to talk about the dark side of tax deed investing. I want to really get in the trenches and kind of tell you the real truth about tax deed investing, because I think a lot of times people sell about all the good things, and God believe me, there are a lot of more upside than downside in my opinion. But I really want to talk about the dark side of tax deed investing, because you guys don't even know how many times people have emailed me or texted me. It was I bought this property from tax deeds. They weren't my students. They just kind of figured it out on their own, and then they're I got this bill or I got that, what do I do? And so I just really want to if you are going to go on this about your own, some of the things you should definitely look out for, right? So one of the things is, I think a lot of times, I just really think it's just crazy, and maybe because I'm in real estate, that's just kind of first nature to me, is to do my due diligence. And I just think a lot of times people do the basic, people are so focused on, okay, if I buy it at this and this is the value, then I'm good. But that's just really simple. That, I wouldn't even say that's basic due diligence. I really believe that there are three things I think, and I'm going to cover them a little bit in more detail, but I don't want to get off the topic. There's three things you should definitely want to know. What is the condition? With that condition, you also want to know the location. You also want to know, number two is the encumbrances, and then number three are the redemption periods. And I've kind of talked about that a lot in my videos, so hopefully you guys got that. You do want to, especially if you're a newbie, I would highly suggest you invest in a state that doesn't have redemption periods. There are a lot of states. I do, in my course, have a list of the different redemption periods of the different states. So I think that's the three things. But the really dark side of it all is, I really personally, in my opinion, and I'll tell you guys, I've been making mistakes. Me and my sister, so she lives in Nevada, and Vegas is the desert. There's crazy land, right? And so my sister was yeah, that's coming up again. And I'll be completely honest, we invested in some land in Vegas, and we were yeah, we're gonna sit on this and we go about to cash out. But of course, I told my sister some of the things to do, and I feel my sister personally is way more of a research, because she is a option trader or whatever. So she's heavily into research. So I kind of didn't babysit her. Because I just automatically thought that's her first nature, to research. But to make a long story short, one of the dark sides about investing is, you could think you're investing in a lot or some land, and it comes out to be not the land that you thought. So make a long story short, my sister bought this property, and I was and she was she went down there, looked at it, she even pinned it or whatever. But what I didn't tell her to do was actually go down to the county and give them the parcel number and actually show them and make sure that the streets and the cross streets, because she was just sending me pictures, and she's this is the one. I was yeah, buy it, girl, let's just get it, we'll sit on it. It's only 10 grand. It's as you guys know, back in the 70s or 80s, there was nothing in Vegas. Now look at it. So I'm just thinking, even though neither one of us have kids, I'm maybe one day we could just pass it on or donate it to an organization or whatever. So anyway, I'm yeah, girl, buy it for 10 grand. This is great. It's 2 acres. Yes, get it. So she buys it, and then of course, big sister goes down there, and I'm let me see it. And I'm are you sure? I started questioning things, and I was let's go to the county. Lo and behold, we go to the county, and it is not the property we thought. So I'm going to tell you guys, number one, you got to know what you're investing in. Do your due diligence. Go to the county. Even if you have the parcel lot number, even if you have the lot and the location, go to the county and be and make sure that the cross streets match. The good thing is that it still was off the freeway. So I always feel those are good properties, and it was commercial. So that's why it was 10 grand commercial. right off the freeway. You know, we could easily sell that to a gas station. There's so many different things we could do. Hopefully, I'm praying to God that like a developer comes in that place, you know, they'll buy it. Like, you know, that's my hope. That's my dream for that in Vegas. But a lot of times when we're buying stuff, we're just looking at the income potential, and you can't do that. You have to look at like the condition, if it needs to be tore down, if there's trees on the property, if it's a swamp. I remember I was at like one auction and the guy was like screaming and yelling and crying because he literally brought like a pond. It was like landlocked, meaning like the land was like in the middle of the pond. And he was probably just buying it because it was cheap. You know what I mean? So I would say like the dark side of like investing is a lot of times people just don't do their due diligence, and then they don't know what they're getting, right? So I would highly suggest you like really like knowing like where you're investing. I always say like utilize your tools. Like the county is gonna know what's best. I be getting names, emails, phone numbers, because if I buy something and y'all told me that that's what it was, I'm coming back for you. Period. Like I got names, contacts, time I called, when I called, so all of those things. So I would say like the dark side, like one of them is possibly investing in something that you didn't think you were investing in, and you're then stuck with the property that you can't do anything about. And I've had several people call me and be like, okay, I bought this property, now I don't know what to do with it. This is wrong with it. That is wrong with it, which leads me to the second thing, which is encumbrances or violations. Now, I've mentioned this in several other videos. One of the number one things that I feel like, I'm going to say it's the dark side because I don't think people talk about this enough, is that sometimes, and it depends on the state, right? Sometimes people like will bid on something, but then they don't think about all the things that come after it. Like, for example, you know, my claim to fame, like I went to Oklahoma, I was so excited. I bought like 5 properties for 10 grand. But you know what? Nobody told me that I was gonna have to pay for like mowing the lawn, people dumping trash, like all these other expenses that just are a headache, just to be honest, just a headache, right? So one of the things I wanted to discuss was like quieting the title. And so I'm going to dig a little bit deeper about that, because some counties, when you're purchasing properties, if there are encumbrances or liens on the property, you can quiet the title. However, quieting the title costs some money, and it also costs some time. And so I think one of the dark sides of that, I'll never forget when I first started, and literally I was helping people buy tax deeds. I was like, this is the process I use, you know, follow the system, and at the end of the system you'll get tax deeds. I literally had 100% like success rate. Like everybody that followed my steps got a tax deed. It was as easy as that. It was like as easy as 1, 2, 3. But what I didn't realize was that people that were buying these tax deeds had never bought a property before. Like they didn't even own a property. And the dark side about that is the whole point of why they were buying it is they were wanting to flip it to make money and like rinse and repeat, like continue to do it. And like this one lady called me, she was a student, and she had like literally bought my program, and in 30 days she bought a tax deed, and she was like, I got it, and she was so happy. She never called me after that though. She was like, I got a tax deed, I'm gonna sell it. She calls me like 3 months later and tells me she's been in contract for 3 months. I was like, wait, what? And so that's why like I have completely I'm revamping my program, because what I realized is that some people has never bought property, so there's certain things that people just don't know. They don't know what they've never experienced. And so what I learned was like, okay, I could teach people how to get them, but what do they do afterwards? Like, how do they maximize once they purchase the property? So the dark side about that is that you got to know like what you're into. Like if you're going to get an investor and they're going to buy like the tax deed from you, like you don't go into contract for like, you know, 2 or 3 months. 30 days is tops. And then you want them to put in a deposit in escrow to make sure that they're serious. And so those were some of the things early on when I first started teaching courses and teaching people that I didn't realize, because, you know, I just had my real estate brain hat on. I was like, of course everybody knows like if they go into contract that they got to put down a deposit, but not everybody knows that if they've never purchased. So if you've never purchased a property before, or you've never done a transaction, I would highly suggest like hiring a realtor and asking them what's the process in that state, and like kind of like tell them like if you've gotten a property, what it is, and or if you're looking at purchasing a property, asking them like what are the values in the area to sell. If you're not proficient in that area, or if you're not familiar with the process, hire somebody, like call someone. You don't even have to hire, because realtors grow like we don't get paid. We will work hoping that we get your business. So you definitely, the dark side of that is if you've never like owned property or bought property, you definitely kind of want to have someone on your team, or have someone in your back pocket that can like give you some insight on like how to sell, when to sell, or partner with somebody. I always advise partner with somebody that has like a list of investors, and kind of like vet them of like what type of investors they have, so that you'll know like let's just say if you buy a property and that there is like 2 agents that she like vetted, and they have investors that are looking for properties that have land, that you can sell it to them, right? And then you could just charge them a flat fee or a certain percentage, because they'll be representing you and the buyer. So that's another thing that I think that is really important on far as like the dark side, is like not knowing what to do after the property. I've had so many people like tell me they've bought like 6 or 7 properties, because it's easy, you guys. I'm telling you, it's easy to buy tax deeds. I just think the downside of that is a lot of times people don't know what to do after that, like how to like leverage that, like how to like scale that, like what to do. It's like, okay, hey, I got like 6 properties, then what? Right? It's like you have your cash invested. I'm gonna end this video with this for those that have purchased properties, or you buy something and you can't sell it. I'm gonna give y'all some game. And it's like the best game ever, because I feel like I always say in every videos, where there's a will, there's a way. So like, let's just say you got a property or you got a piece of land, and you can't sell it. You can't get rid of it. I would suggest calling like mobile homes, or like, well, first of all, you got to see what county or if they allow that, but lease the land out to somebody and let them deal with it. Like, you're not going to get like let's just say you bought a piece of land for $3,000 or $4,000, but you can't sell it, and you probably was hoping to sell it for like $8,000 or something. If you aren't able to sell it, find somebody that's interested in like buying land, or they want to like put a mobile home or something like that, and then you just get cash flow. Or you can do like rent to own, like you could lease out the land. So there are so many different exit strategies, but I think the number one like dark side about what I've heard, not only from people that did not work with me, but they like will email me and ask me what to do, is 1, they can't get rid of it, or 2, they like have these liens or encumbrances on it and they don't know how to get out of it, and they didn't calculate that in their investing. Like, for example, like if they paid $10,000 and now they got to pay another like $5,000 or $6,000 because they have liens and encumbrances on it, and then like the property is really worth $20,000, then they literally didn't make any money, right? So I just kind of want to like encourage you and empower you that if you're going to start investing in tax deeds, do your due diligence. You want to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. And that is basically knowing what comes with that property, knowing if you have to quiet the title, because that's like, depending on what state you're in, it could be like between $2,000 to $7,000, knowing what you're going to do with it, or if you have people to sell it to it. Like, I think the number one thing I get a lot, people are like, how do I scale this? Like, I bought like all these properties, like what do I do with them? And I think like the most important thing is, even before you buy them, you should have somebody you need to sell it to. Literally, like, I don't buy nothing unless I already got some buyers lined up. Like, literally, I'm going to the auctions with people in mind. And I think that's like a smart strategy to have in like any investment, unless you're trying to buy and hold, or you're like building a legacy for your children. You may not be able to afford a home, but you want to like just leave some land or something. Like if your kids are like 9 and 10, by the time they get your age, that property is going to be worth something, even if you paid $2,000 for it. I just advise, if you're going to pay $2,000, make sure that the property, when you bought it at $2,000, was worth 15 or 20. So there already some built-in equity. What a lot of people also don't know is that you can leverage that. You can, get a line of credit. Now you have collateral. And I think a lot of times people just don't think outside the box when investing in tax deeds, but there are so many different things that you can do investing. But I just wanted to cover the dark side of it, is that you do need to know what to do. You do need to know what you're investing in. You do need to know what you're buying. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with stuff that you did not plan on having. So I just kind of wanted to give you some of the little dark sides, some of the caveats that a lot of people don't talk about or people miss in the tax deed investing world. If you are still watching this video, I am offering my new tax deed course. I'm doing a pre-sale. It's going to be $297 for those that want to purchase now, and it will come out at the end of May, early June. And what I just really want you to do is look at the videos, read the content, read the material, and give me feedback, literally, because I want to make it better. And I will be increasing the price. I'm going to keep it like that for like 3 months, and then I'm going to increase the price. But that's like the lowest I've ever offered any course in my entire community. But I really am here to serve the people. And like I said, I tell people this all the time. I've been investing for 20 years, and by far, this is like one of the easiest, best investment strategies. So I do want to share my knowledge and my wealth with you all. So anyway, for those that want to purchase, click the link below. Watch it. It won't be available. This is kind of like a pre-sale just to get people that are interested. And I'm going to actually unload a new course, up to date, relevant times, 2025 times, for those that are wanting to invest, and for you guys to give me feedback of things that maybe I missed or things that you may have questions, and I will continuously add them to the course. Hope this video helps. Happy investing, and make it a great day. Don't forget to